Hello, it's me, Fat Cow. Before we continue, allow me to give you a quick tour. Now everything here, apart from the skeleton animals, the masks on the wall and the figurine of Ursula, were made by me, either sewn or drawn or sculpted. So that's that. Nothing's in its final place because it takes me a long time to get things done. This is a pea green Paddington Bear coat, which name I can't remember. Duffel coat. It's called a duffel coat that I brought from a thrift store that I have been attaching appliques that I've made myself of zombies all over. I haven't finished that either. I'm very good at starting things and not finishing them. But I do believe I have a justifiable excuse, but it transpires that if you spoke to Foodie Beauty, I have absolutely no excuses whatsoever for not starting a task and completing it in the same time or on the same day. So let's get into it, shall we?
I have fibromyalgia. He calls me fat. Hello? What? Like, if I'm fat, what is Shanny? If I'm fat, what is your wife, who can't even move 2 steps? Can she run across the street to get a poutine? No. Can she get on a tuk-tuk? No.
Neither can you. That was over a year ago and a good 50 pounds lighter. You can't do that now. Your entire month in Thailand this year shows us you can't do that now. So no, Shanny can't do that. She can't run across the road to get poutine. It's poutine, isn't it? Poutine's something completely different. Sorry. She can't get into a tuk-tuk. But I would argue neither can you.
I have fibromyalgia. Okay, good for you. Excuses.
Right, we all know where I'm going with this one, don't we? I have fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia 12 years ago. I take quite a lot of medication for my fibromyalgia so that I can function to a certain level. However, with all the medication I take, I still struggle daily to do things. Fibromyalgia has greatly affected my quality of life and my ability to complete simple tasks that other people take for granted. Now, before we continue, I feel like I have to explain what fibromyalgia is. Now, currently, medical professionals don't know exactly what fibromyalgia is in terms of where to categorise it. Does it belong to rheumatology? Is it neuropathy? Is it autoimmune? We don't know. The current thinking is it could possibly be autoimmune. Now, fibromyalgia has in total currently 60 known symptoms. However, everybody has some or the others, combination of, so that varies upon the individual. However, 2 symptoms, the defining 2 symptoms of fibromyalgia, everybody will suffer from to varying degrees. These symptoms are chronic fatigue, and we're talking about fatigue, not just being tired. For example, it was speculated by doctors that in order for a healthy individual to understand how a fatigued person with chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia or other conditions that have chronic fatigue, In order for a healthy person to actually be able to comprehend the level of fatigue that people like myself experience, you would have to go a straight 48 hours without any sleep whatsoever and then try to function normally. That's our baseline. When I say we are always tired, I mean we are always tired. We are tired from the very minute we wake up. We do not wake up refreshed or rested. I can easily go back to bed within the first hour of getting up. We can't remember what not being tired feels like. The second symptom, which everybody will have, is chronic pain. Now, when I say chronic, they don't mean very ouchy. They mean continuous. Now, we all individually, people with fibromyalgia, have different levels of pain, but it never goes away, even with medication. I take codeine for my pain, and yet it never eradicates the pain. It just dampens the pain. So to say a person with fibromyalgia, and I want to stress this, I am not defending the individual called Shanny. I don't know for a fact if she actually has fibromyalgia, and I don't know to what degree she has fibromyalgia, but I'm just talking in blanket terms about how fibromyalgia affects anybody who legitimately has it. I am 52 years old. I've had fibromyalgia since I was 40, if not longer, because it takes a while to get it diagnosed. Fibromyalgia has greatly affected the quality of my life. I cannot hold down a full-time job. I cannot sit for long periods of time. I cannot answer telephone calls because I get overwhelmed and start to stutter or can't reply at all. I can't do anything that requires standing up for any length of time. And if I did have a desk job there where I sat on a chair, I would probably last about 2 days before I would need to take the entire rest of the week off. And the thing is, some days I might be better able to do it than other days. I don't know until I've woken up. I am incredibly unreliable when it comes to my health. Thus, I am on disability, I'm medically retired, and I cannot work. This YouTube thing, I do when I can, in a big fat chair that I can sit in many different positions to alleviate the strain on my back. And I can go to bed once I've finished, or during even. So there's that. But even this YouTube thing is causing me to feel worse than I normally would, unfortunately. And it is something I will have to consider in time, whether or not I can actually physically continue doing this. At the moment, I'm being a stubborn arse and grinning and bearing it, which is one of my most defining characters and not necessarily in my best interest. I have difficulty walking for long distances or long periods of time. And by long, I mean barely a kilometre before it starts getting incredibly painful. I have difficulty standing in place for any length of time. I have difficulty sitting up for any length of time. not necessarily because it makes me tired, but because it causes me a lot of pain. I also get muscle fatigue very, very easily. So I can do a task once, such as hanging a picture, but I can't do it again and again because my arms tire so quickly. The same with any exercise that is repetitive. I cannot do it. My muscles fatigue very, very quickly. So my mobility is affected, my stamina is affected, and as I mentioned, there are many, many, many other symptoms. I don't know where that word went. But the symptoms that I personally suffer from, in no particular order of severity, is brain fog, which is literally an inability to process any information at all. I get brain fog. I don't get brain frog. I get brain fog when too much information is coming at me. Say there's a conversation with myself and two other people, and one person is speaking to me, and then another person will suddenly interject with a question. My brain will suddenly go, "Buh," and is literally blank. Alternatively, it will have a response, but for some reason the response doesn't come out of the mouth. The mouth is not cooperating whatsoever. Think of it as like buffering. My brain buffers. Another interesting thing is, if I move my arm, I have no problem. If a doctor tells me to move my arm, my brain decides it doesn't know what it's talking about, and I can't actually move my arm because I've been instructed to by a third party, which is really bizarre and kind of freaky. I also, unfortunately, and out of all the symptoms that you can have with fibromyalgia, this is my least favourite. Not that any of the symptoms are my favourite, but you understand what I mean. Given a choice, this one would be the one I'd remove first. I sweat profusely with any activity or anxiety. I even sweat after getting out of the shower, which kind of defeats the purpose, but Additionally, I twitch, I jerk, I'm very, very easily startled, which has a real, very dramatic reaction from me physically. I can get so overwhelmed I begin to stutter, and of course, just poking me anywhere lightly causes physical pain, which is great. However, although that may hurt, particularly here, oddly enough, some people have fibromyalgia significantly worse than I do. At least I can function, albeit very slowly and very damply. There are some people whose sensitivity to touch is so extreme and so painful that wearing clothes hurts them. Laying under a sheet causes physical pain. So no, foodie, fibromyalgia is not an excuse. It is far from being an excuse to not be able to do something. I have been bedridden and bedbound by fibromyalgia. I have had to walk with a cane. I have on occasion not even been able to walk at all. So no, foodie, fibromyalgia is not a fucking excuse to be lazy. And it's for life. That's what the chronic bit means. It means it's never going to go away. Just because a chronic illness isn't actively killing the person who has it doesn't decrease its value in terms of it being a legitimate reason for your quality of life being somewhat lesser than. No, fibromyalgia isn't killing me. No, fibromyalgia will not shorten my life. But there are times when fibromyalgia made me wish it was killing me. So don't you fucking dare, regardless of who claims to have this particular illness or any chronic illness of any shape, be it obvious and visible or not visible, don't you dare say it's an excuse. And if you do, don't you use your sciatica, don't you use your diabetes, do not use your weight as an excuse ever again, because you have removed the right for you to do so.